A thin morning mist still clung to the hills, but the destruction left behind by wild boars the night before was painfully clear. Cornfields torn to shreds, sweet potato plots ravaged like a war zone, and the livestock penned still in ruins. These beasts aren't just aggressive, they're cunning and bold enough to attack anything that stands in their way. In that eerie stillness, Thomas's team moved quietly, locking and loading, inspecting every round with cold precision. Their eyes burned with determination. They weren't just hunting, this was a battle to defend the crops, the land, and the peace of this community. By the end of today, will these monsters still have a chance to bring terror once more? The team made the call to move to the first battleground, the southern slopes of America. From high above, the open landscape stretched out before us, giving the hunters a commanding view of the terrain. There they were, a pack of wild boars clustered at the base of the hill, too focused on foraging to notice that danger was closing in fast. Bang! The first shot rang out, sharp and thunderous, a declaration that the hunt had begun. The entire herd scattered in panic, but it was already too late. Two more shots followed in quick succession, dropping 2 boars on the spot. It was a strangely smooth start. Could it be a good omen for the rest of the hunt, or just the calm before a much tougher storm? Pushing deeper into the dense forest, thick undergrowth began to limit our visibility. Then suddenly, a target appeared at a considerable distance. But that kind of range doesn't faze a seasoned hunter. Thomas quickly raised his rifle, took steady aim, and pulled the trigger. The first shot sliced through the air, sending the boar darting behind the brush in a desperate attempt to escape. But there was no escaping the second shot. Fired without hesitation, it landed squarely. The heavy beast rolled into the undergrowth and lay still. At the same time, in another position, one of Thomas's teammates had his eyes locked on a boar hiding deep in the thick brush. The moment it poked its head out, ready to bolt, boom, the shot rang out. The animal was hit, tumbling to the ground, not giving it a chance to recover. A second round followed instantly, sealing its fate. The prey was completely subdued by the hunter's pinpoint precision. What do you think of that shot? Drop us a comment and let us know. Leaving the hillside behind, the team took a short break to recover before moving on to a wide-open field, where the wind whispered through the dry grass. Suddenly, strange noises emerged from within the brush. Thomas, rifle in hand, stood ready, calm and focused. Moments later, a dark figure burst out at breakneck speed. Without hesitation, Thomas raised his rifle and fired. Bang! The first shot hit, but it wasn't enough to bring the fierce creature down. A second round followed immediately. This time, it was over. The beast collapsed, its escape attempt cut short by the marksmanship of a sharpshooter hardened by countless hours of grueling training. Suddenly, the loud barking of the hounds erupted ahead, clear signs that prey was closing in. The team rushed toward the sound, and right then, a massive wild boar burst out of the brush, charging straight at Thomas in a full-blown attack. In that split-second moment of danger, a single hesitation could have turned Thomas into the hunted. But he didn't flinch. Calm, and composed, he raised his rifle, locked on target, boom. A thunderous shot rang out, and with just one bullet, the raging beast was dropped before it could get any closer. The hounds were still barking in the distance, echoing from deep within the brush, clear signs that another target was still hiding. One of Thomas's teammates rushed in to assist, quietly pushing through the dry grass, following the urgent barks. Then in a flash, the target revealed itself. Crack! A single gunshot rang out, deadly accurate. The boar froze for a moment before collapsing in the underbrush, completely still. Now put yourself in that moment. Would you run, or would you stand your ground? Let us know in the comments below. After a series of intense encounters, the team gathered the hounds and began the journey back. Today's success wasn't just about stopping the wild boars from destroying crops and livestock. It was a clear testament to the sharp instincts, unshakable nerves, and expert skills of seasoned hunters. More importantly, every action took place within a designated, state-approved hunting zone, following all legal regulations to the letter. If you found this journey thrilling, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming hunts. Under the golden sunlight, what was once a lush green meadow is now nothing but churned up mud grass flattened, as if a brutal battle had just taken place. The wild boars' ferocious beasts have torn everything apart, leaving behind chaos and unease for the people living here. With their untamed nature, they'll devour anything they find: roots, insects, even animal carcasses. They dig relentlessly, tearing up entire fields in a single night. It's time to take action. But can we, the fearless hunters, muster the strength to bring these monsters down? The team set out early, riding in our trusted truck with the hunting dogs in tow, heading straight for the vast fields of Arkansas. As soon as we arrived, the dogs got to work, sniffing out the trail of the wild boars. Meanwhile, we quickly moved into our hidden positions, ready for the hunt to begin. "30 minutes passed in complete silence, no sign of any wild boars. Suddenly, the barking of the hunting dogs echoed from deep within the woods. I strained my eyes, trying to trace their movement. Then came the unmistakable rustling sound. I turned quickly. Without hesitation, I locked onto the nearest targets. One by one, they were taken down. The ones farther out got lucky and slipped away into the shadows. The grassy field was the perfect spot to track down wild boars. That's why I called on Archie, our team's sharpest shooter, to cover me in case I missed. And just like clockwork, he delivered. As the boar burst out from the thick brush, Archie dropped it with a single, clean shot. Quick, precise. 10 minutes later, a gunshot rang out from the neighboring field, probably from one of my teammates. But the radio tracker signaled that the wild boar had escaped. I quickly moved in the direction it was heading. Just as I neared the area, a dark shadow darted across the vegetable patch ahead. No time to think, my shot rang out, ending the threat in an instant. Victory after victory fueled our spirits as we pressed on, tracking the next targets. Then suddenly a dark figure burst out from the dry grass. Seizing the moment, I fired a rapid burst. The shots landed true, bringing down a large, heavy wild boar. The team quickly moved on to other patches of tall grass, but I stayed behind, silently, heading toward the edge of the forest, choosing a hidden spot to lie in wait for any sign of movement. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke the silence. A wild boar, trying to stay hidden, began to emerge from the bushes. The moment it spotted me, it panicked, veering sharply and bolting into the open field. I gave chase, raised my rifle, and with a single well-placed shot, brought it down. It all happened in a flash, but that was all it took to stop a menace in its tracks. Dusk had fallen, and the last light of the day was slipping behind the treetops. We had to act fast. There wasn't much time left to track down the remaining wild boars before darkness swallowed the forest. While I was scanning the bushes along the edge of the clearing, a hefty wild boar suddenly burst out from the underbrush. Without hesitation, I took aim and pulled the trigger. After the thunderous gunshot echoed across the field, the wild boar lay motionless. There was no chance of escape. In Oklahoma, wild boars are a nightmare ravaging the land. With an estimated population ranging from 600,000 to 1.5 million, they've spread across 70 of the state's 77 counties, causing over $7 million in damage each year to crops, livestock, and soil. But worse yet, they're a major source of dangerous diseases for both humans and animals. Today, we'll trek through the forest, following muddy, trap-laden paths to confront this invasive species head-on. The boars were much smarter now. They knew how to retreat deep into the woods to avoid the hunter's sight. But that didn't stop us. Once we brought our guns into the woods, we only left when we had killed a worthy prey. After 15 minutes of silent ambush, the first target appeared. Without haste, without defense, it calmly approached as if this was its own territory. On the shooting post, Travis was completely silent, the barrel of the gun lowered, and then a sharp shot came. But the stubborn boar did not fall. With a strong survival instinct, it still tried to run away. Travis immediately fired a second shot, this time to kill the prey. A smooth start, not dramatic, but satisfying. With our usual tactics, we continued to move, both to avoid leaving traces and to widen our field of view. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from the slope. A herd of wild boars was charging down. I stopped, raised my rifle, and my heart began to pound. The angle was not fatal. I held my breath, my finger on the trigger, and waited patiently for the right. There it is, I whispered to myself as I saw a wild boar break away from the herd and slow down. Boom! A well-aimed shot. The wild boar flipped over and rolled down the slope. As the sun rose, the wild boars hid more carefully. We had to crawl into thick bushes to track down new prey. Hunting in dense brush is always a risky confrontation, where even the slightest mistake can cost you. But strangely, it's exactly that tightrope tension that makes me feel more thrilled than ever. Thanks to intense focus and quick reflexes sharpened through many encounters, I brought one down in just a few short seconds.
Très belle balle.
And that kind of victory always gives me a sense of pride like nothing else. Travis and I carefully moved to a higher position, hoping to intercept the target from above. Just a few minutes later, the wild boar suddenly appeared, only about 5 meters away from us. Not willing to give it a chance to attack, Travis pulled the trigger 2 or 3 more times. The gunshots rang out through the forested hills, finishing off the prey before it could become dangerous. The tense encounter just moments ago made us even more alert. Another dark figure appeared. The boar didn't seem aggressive, but it was still dangerously close. A cold, single gunshot rang out. We gathered at the foot of the mountain. The hunt had only about 30 minutes left. After that, we'd return to the village, light a fire, and hold a small barbecue to share our hard-earned trophies. The distance was close, the shooting angle perfect, just one shot was enough to bring it down, no second round needed. A perfect victory to end the journey. And ahead of us, the mouth-watering scent of grilled meat was waiting.
The wild boar population is surging at an alarming rate of reproduction. Each year, their uncontrolled breeding poses a severe threat to the agricultural economy and human habitats. In response, hunting has become an urgent measure to control their numbers and protect the lives of local residents. And today's hunt is part of that grueling battle. A clash between humans and the increasingly uncontrollable wild beasts. Moving to the planned hunting location, as soon as he steps out of the vehicle, Nick carefully assesses the situation along the trail. The confrontation officially begins when a wild boar charges forward, unaware of Nick's presence. Just as Nick predicted, the beast appears on the pre-calculated route. He assumes a ready stance and waits. With a single shot, the creature collapses on the spot. A perfect ambush is unfolding at another location. decisive gunshot rings out the moment the wild boar emerges. It collapses swiftly, unaware of what just happened. A soft sigh of relief escapes, marking another well-earned triumph. Continuing to move around the area, 10 minutes later, Nick followed the familiar warning sound and approached. Each step, along with his pounding heartbeat, created extreme tension. The beast quickly appeared before the gun barrel. Perfect! Right after, the gunshot rang out. The beast collapsed, unable to resist. At the same time, deep in the forest, a breathless confrontation was unfolding. The moment the hound's frantic barking erupted, Leon immediately rushed forward. There it was, a massive beast, tightly surrounded by the hunting dogs. Oh my god! Without warning, it lunged straight at Leon. He pulled the trigger without hesitation, dropping the beast at his feet before it could strike. With years of hunting experience and nerves of steel, Leon escaped death's sight by a hair's breadth. Without pause, Leon continued expanding his search range. He pushed through dense thickets of foliage, advancing toward the signaled location. The moment his prey came into view, rapid gunfire erupted, stopping the beast in its tracks. Another trophy fell beneath Leon's barrel, proof of the professional hunter's skill. Moments later, another hunter was hot on his target's trail. Taking up a strategic firing position, he pulled the trigger the instant his prey came into view. A swift, precise shot, eliminating the threat lurking deep in the wilderness. Today's hunt draws to a close here. The trails and thickets bore witness to every heart-stopping trigger pull. Think hunting wild boar is easy? Try chasing down a 400-pound beast charging like a bullet through dense forest. The ground trembles with every thunderous step. Dust clouds rise, and you have to weave through thick trunks and slash past thorny branches tearing at your skin. Each hunt is a life or death battle, where only the bravest survive till the end. And these hunters don't face the danger for sport. They stand guard to protect people, land, and nature from the brutal destruction wild boars bring. Today, we join Thomas on a hunt as he strides straight into the heart of the beast's lair. One by one, the team moves to their assigned positions. Suddenly, Thomas's footsteps slow. He thinks he hears something. Yes, the sharp barks of the hunting dogs ring out. He moves towards the fierce noise. Minutes later, right before him stands a colossal wild boar. Oh my god! It charges like a whirlwind, but it's already too late. One shot clean and decisive ends it all. The heavy beast collapsing lifeless at his feet. A masterful, cool-headed move by Thomas. The perfect opening for a relentless battle to come. But Thomas didn't stop there. He moved on to his hiding spot, slipping in quietly and scanning every movement around him, always ready for a fight. Before long, an unexpected figure dashed right into Leon's line of sight. Without hesitation, he squeezed the trigger decisively. The beast tried to flee, but it hadn't gotten far before it lay still and silent. Deep inside the forest, Leon crouched in his hiding spot, fully focused on every sound and movement around him. Suddenly, a hefty wild boar charged wildly through the underbrush. In the blink of an eye, Leon went through his practiced routine, raising his gun and pulling the trigger. Just one bullet was enough to halt the beast's furious sprint. A threat swiftly dealt with, clean, precise, and final. While Leon was still inspecting the fallen beast, an intense battle was unfolding on the other side of the hill. Thomas was already there, sweeping through the thick bushes. Suddenly, the sharp baying of hunting dogs echoed nearby, followed moments later by the towering silhouette of a monstrous creature. One fatal mistake. It stepped right into Thomas's line of sight. The next gunshot ended all resistance, swift and final. Continuing down to the flat terrain below, Thomas crossed over rough patches of ground. Before his eyes had fully scanned the area, a sudden whirlwind of motion burst forth, leaving him momentarily dazed as he tried to regain focus. The sharp crack of the gunshot came just in time, stopping the beast dead in its tracks. It collapsed, unable to take another step. A decisive move, cutting off every possible escape route for the creature. As the evening sun began to fade, Thomas seized the chance to track down any stragglers left behind. After moving for a while, he paused, taking cover beneath a thick bush. His focus never wavered. Every sense was on high alert. In an instant, a shadow appeared right in his sights. Without a single wasted move, dust kicked up into the air, and a sharp sound marked the end of this threat. This is not just a hunt. It's a battle between courage and survival. Only the bravest stand strong until the very end. Hunting wild boar has never been easy. It demands sacrifice, facing danger head-on, and staying ready for anything.